Well, it's official, just a few weeks into the new year, and 2025 is already shaping up to be an incredible year for us gamers, with exciting developments across the board. On the hardware front, Nvidia has unveiled its new 50 series GPUs at CES, promising groundbreaking performance and advanced features. And meanwhile, rumours of a looming Nintendo Switch 2 announcement were put to rest when Nintendo finally dropped an official Switch 2 trailer, sending Nintendo fans into a frenzy. And that's before we even get to the sheer numbers of games scheduled for release this year. So no matter what type of hardware you prefer or what genres you're into, 2025 is set to deliver. It's an especially thrilling time for JRPG fans like me, with over 30 titles on the horizon, including prequels, sequels, side stories, and brand new entries in long dormant franchises. We're also seeing remakes and remasters of beloved classics, as well as updated versions of games barely old enough to be considered retro. Hi everyone, I'm Jamison, and welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into 9, but really 12 beloved JRPG remakes and remasters confirmed so far for 2025. Let's get started. Starting off our list at number 1, we have a game that's been out for about a week or two here in Australia, and that's Ys Memoire, The Oath in Felghana. This is a faithful remaster that revisits The Oath in Felghana, a game that originally released on the PSP in early 2010, that itself was a re-release of a 2005 PC title, which interestingly enough was a remake of Ys 3, Wanderers from Ys from the 1990s. In this installment, Adol journeys to his companion Dogi's hometown, only to find that corruption, unrest, and all manner of ancient evils have taken hold, and the only way to restore peace is for Adol to hack and slash his way through dangerous dungeons and the bosses lurking within them. While the remaster stays faithful to its source material, it does introduce a few updates that somewhat enhance the overall experience, the most notable one being that English voice acting has been added for both Adol and the narrator. Visually, the game has received a few mild touch-ups, the most notable one being that they've entirely redone the character portrait artworks. And while the in-game soundtrack has been remastered, giving players some control over how the music plays, there are also other quality of life improvements like the ability to skip cutscenes, a turbo mode for speeding up gameplay, and a new game plus option has been added to round out these improvements. Despite its relatively short runtime of 10 to 15 hours, Ys Memoire, The Oath in Felghana serves as a fantastic entry point for newcomers curious about the Ys series, or a delightful revisit for veterans wanting a dose of nostalgia. It's a streamlined yet satisfying adventure that embodies the charm of this long-running franchise. Moving on to the next title on our list, we have Freedom Wars Remastered. This is a remastered version of the original Freedom Wars, which debuted on the PS Vita back in 2014 and introduces several technical upgrades, including 4K resolutions, 60 FPS, a refined crafting system, and the addition of a challenging new difficulty mode called Deadly Guilty, all while staying true to the original Freedom Wars experience. Freedom Wars is an action-packed, combat-heavy, Monster Hunter-esque JRPG set in a desolate far future where the remnants of humanity are confined to prison cities known as panopticons. In this dystopian world, players take on the role of the protagonist, labelled a sinner who is stripped of all basic human rights and condemned to a million-year-long sentence for the most heinous crime of all, the crime of existing. And to earn your freedom, you must take on a variety of dangerous missions, ranging from collecting materials on the surface and donating them to your panopticon, to battling massive monsters known as abductors. This is where the Monster Hunter-esque combat style really shines, as you'll face off against these towering foes while trying to rescue civilians, with each mission offering a higher stakes battle for survival and redemption. If this story or premise sounds interesting to you, then you'll be thrilled to know that Freedom Wars Remastered released just a couple days after Ys Memoire, The Oath in Felghana on January 10th. Let's hope that with enough financial success and fan support, Bandai Namco will consider giving us a sequel to this game, with its quite unique story and themes that we haven't seen much in other JRPGs in recent years, so here's hoping we get a sequel. Now, at number 3, we have a title that if I managed to get my upload schedule down pat, should have only been out for a day or two now, and that is Tales of Grace's F Remastered. I won't go into too much detail about the story and characters, as I don't want to spoil it for anyone who didn't get to play the original releases when it debuted on the Nintendo Wii and later on the PS3. And besides, I personally believe that the Tales series is best experienced going in blind, and I'm sure anyone who's played more than one entry in the series can attest to that. And for any of you out there who have never experienced a Tales game, well, here's the basics. It's an action-based JRPG that captures the magic of real-time combat in a vibrant world with emotionally rich storytelling, with each game introducing us to a unique cast of characters, all navigating personal growth and larger-than-life adventures. And all this is set against fantastical realms, so stunning and imaginative they practically leap off the screen, all whilst emitting a bright, vibrant hue, almost like the devs kinda went on an acid trip, and I mean that in the best way possible. And as for the characters themselves, they aren't just visually captivating, they have layers of emotional depth, which just adds to the story, making each narrative as heartfelt as it is thrilling. And all of this is topped off with musical scores that just amplify every emotional high and low, which means that every Tales game delivers an immersive, unforgettable journey that any RPG fan will want to experience again and again. And if this is really your first entry into the Tales series, oh, how I envy you. Not only will you experience all the features that make Tales games so great, but also the exciting updates in the remaster. These include beautifully upgraded graphics, I'm talking 4K, 60 FPS, quality reworks to art and visuals. We're also getting skippable cutscenes and dialogue, customizable controls for accessibility options, a grade shop available from the first playthrough, no new game plus needed, and we're getting over 80 pieces of DLC content that we didn't get till later with the original. We also get the ability for players to toggle off enemy encounters, retry battles, and enjoy other accessibility improvements like colorblind friendly adjustments. And all this isn't even the best part, guys. If Bandai Namco and Tosei, the studio behind the remaster, nail these promises, it's only going to get better for us, as Tales of Grace's F Remastered is just the first of several older Tales games set to receive the remastered treatment as part of the Tales of 30th anniversary celebrations. So let's hope it all goes perfectly at launch and delivers the sales data needed to support this cause, because I sure as hell want more Tales games getting this treatment. On to the first combined double game remaster on our list, we have Suikoden I and II HD Remaster, Gate Rune and Dunan Unification Wars, set for release on March 6 across major consoles and PC. And quite frankly, out of all the titles on today's list, this one is by far the most exciting for me, as I've never had the chance to play the originals, simply because I refuse to emulate them and haven't found a decent copy at a reasonable price, despite hearing so much about them, from the tropes and mechanics they pioneered, which have become staples of the JRPG genre, to their story, which I personally believe rivals Game of Thrones. Now, for those of you wondering what I'm rambling about, here's a brief synopsis to hook you in. Suikoden I is set in the Scarlet Moon Empire, where you step into the role of a young hero, caught in the throes of political turmoil and upheaval after a shocking betrayal has occurred, and you're then tasked with finding and recruiting the 108 Stars of Destiny in order to overthrow and defeat the corrupt regime. Whilst this is happening, you'll be immersed in a rich, character-driven narrative with base-building elements and a diverse cast, each with their own personal stories and motivations for helping the protagonist. As for Suikoden II, it takes place 3 years later, introducing us to a new hero tasked with leading a rebellion against the Highland Kingdom. This sequel builds on the first game, but adds a refined battle system, more characters, deeper exploration of themes like war, loyalty and sacrifice, which is largely why Suikoden II is considered to be the better of the two, and quite often widely regarded as one of the greatest RPGs of all time. And now you can see why, when I heard Suikoden I and II were getting a remaster, with Konami promising a balance of nostalgia and modern updates, I was immediately on board. This remaster features faster combat, with auto battle options, enhanced HD visuals, and a revamped UI for smoother navigation. It also adds convenience features like quick movement, automated saving, upgraded HD audio, And you better believe me, my wallet was open and empty before the pre-order confirmation even arrived in my inbox. And if all these updates haven't convinced you to pick up these classics, I don't know what will, so maybe mark your calendars for March 6, because this is one remaster you don't want to miss. Moving on to number 5, we have an open world RPG, originally released on the Wii U back in 2015, a game that most fans never thought would leave the console, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X, the definitive edition. Set on the alien planet Mira, after humanity's near extinction, players will take on the role of a customizable protagonist who joins Blade, an organisation tasked with exploring Mira, battling hostile creatures, and recovering parts of the human Ark ship. This game features vast environments, mech-based combat using skells, and a focus on exploration, survival, and uncovering Mira's many mysteries. This remaster promises to improve upon and address many of the original game's issues, such as the small text and cluttered UI, by introducing sharper visuals, larger fonts, streamlined menus, and other quality of life enhancements like quick recast for combat and an improved follow ball for missions. Expanded customization options are now also included alongside the classic character features, and the level cap has been removed. But most importantly, if not what I consider to be this remaster's biggest selling point, is the addition of a post-game story expansion set on the floating continent, which aims at resolving the cliffhanger ending that has intrigued, traumatized, and frustrated fans for nearly a decade since the original game's release. So whether you're new to the franchise or a long-time fan, this Switch exclusive is set for release on March 20th and is shaping up to be a must-play adventure. Now, next on our list is our second double game release, and that is Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake. Coming out sometime in 2025, Dragon Quest I and Dragon Quest II are set in a vibrant world with characters and monster designs all crafted by the late Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. Yes, that Dragon Ball. And as for the story, that's written by Yuji Horii, and here's a simplified rundown of it for you. In Dragon Quest I, you play as a nameless protagonist who is the descendant of the previous legendary hero. This hero earned the title and took up the mantle of the mythical hero known as Erdrick. As one of his descendants, your task is to rescue the Princess Gwaelin and defeat the evil Dragon Lord, who has plunged the kingdom of Elfgard into darkness, and to accomplish this, the game sends you on a journey filled with turn-based battles, exploration, and quests to gather sacred relics, all whilst leading up to a confrontation with the Dragon Lord in order to restore peace and order. Through your deeds and actions on this journey, you slowly become the new Erdrick, carrying on his mantle and bloodline. Now, as for Dragon Quest II, it's set generations after the first game, where you once again control a descendant of Erdrick's lineage. Yes, the character you played as in Dragon Quest I had children, and those children had their own descendants, and together they must all unite to battle Paragon, a sorcerer threatening to destroy the world with his dark god Malroth. Now, as for what the remaster is bringing to the table, I could tell you it's adding visual enhancements, improved character art, autosave features, separate difficulty modes, enemy animations and status changes to indicate HP loss, and that there's also a recall function that lets players re-examine NPC dialogue, and that you've got Chimera rings for fast travel inside of towns and dungeons, quest markers to indicate objectives, and points of interest, and even some voice cutscenes. Or I could just say, go grab a copy, or at least watch all the content on Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake, because almost all the graphical, cosmetic, and quality of life improvements from it will be carried over to 1 and 2. And chronologically speaking, Dragon Quest III happens before 1 and 2, expanding upon their lore. Plus in Dragon Quest III, you get to play as the hero who becomes Erdrick, setting the stage for the characters and events in 1 and 2. So either way, whether you choose to play it numerically or chronological order, don't miss out on the series. Next on our list is a remaster from one of the longest running interconnected JRPG franchises out there, known for its deep lore, evolving characters, and intricate political drama, with each game in the series telling its own story while still building on the events and characters from previous titles. With every new release, the world expands, adding something fresh, and yes, there's even another game in the series coming out later this year. But we're not here to talk about that, we're here to talk about the remaster of The Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, the first. That's right, we're returning to where it all began. The small, technologically advanced nation on the western edge of the Zemerian continent, the Ibral Kingdom, where the modern Trail series first kicked off some 20 years ago, back in 2004. And if you're wondering what this means, well, it means we'll once again be able to experience the journey of Estelle and Joshua as they aspire to become bracers, protectors of the peace, as they travel across the kingdom, resolving various incidents and gaining experience to ultimately complete their training. Except this time, we get to experience it with enhanced 3D visuals and character art. Full voice acting of all the characters will also be available. Along with this, a range of quality of life upgrades, such as seamless transitions between fields and towns, along with potential updates to battle mechanics and the user interface, being hinted at in order to bring them in line with what's more common in the more recent entries in the series. And if you're wondering about combat, well, all I can find out is that it will feature, and I quote, command-based combat with attacks and magic spells designed to be accessible to new RPG players. Whatever that means, we'll just have to wait and see. So I guess whether you've played the original or not, or have never played one of the Trails games, now might be the perfect time to get into the series, considering Trails of the Sky is a trilogy, and they've only remastered the first part, so there's more to come, and in all honesty, I'm personally looking forward to seeing what comes next. And now, at number 8, we have our final double game release for the year, though hopefully not the last, and that is of the Lunar Remastered collection, set to launch on April 18th. This collection aims to bring back the unforgettable adventures of the Lunar Silver Star story and its sequel Lunar Eternal Blue, two iconic turn-based RPGs from the early 90s. In Silver Star story, you follow Alex, a young adventurer, as he takes his first steps towards becoming a Dragon Master, all whilst being swept up in a fight to stop the evil Magic Emperor from taking over the world. As for Lunar Eternal Blue, it's set 1,000 years later with an entirely new protagonist, a young boy named Hero, who teams up with Lucia, a mysterious woman trying to prevent Lunar's destruction at the hands of the evil Zophar. Together they face powerful enemies and uncover secrets about their world's past. So whether you're diving back into these stories or discovering them for the first time, this collection is the way to go, as the visuals have been beautifully enhanced with remastered pixel art, up-to-date high-definition graphics, and HD animated cutscenes. And considering those cutscenes were stunning even back in the day, you can bet my expectations are sky high for this remaster. Plus, widescreen support promises to make the experience nice for everybody, old or new. So keep this one on your calendar, guys, I know I am. And finally, last but not least, we have a game that's not technically a remaster, but gives off the vibes of one. And whilst the mobile gacha game that shares the same name was a complete failure, this new version is shaping up to be something entirely different. With no official release date announced as of writing, it's still shrouded in some mystery, but the anticipation is already growing. Fans are hopeful this will redeem the series and deliver a much more polished experience. And that game is, of course, Atelier, Resleriana, the Red Alchemist, and the White Guardian. As of now, not much is known about this title, and even the official websites are keeping things under wrap. However, what we can confirm is that it's coming to PlayStation 5, 4, the Switch, and Steam. And no, this is not another gacha game or an offline version of the mobile title. Instead, it will be a brand new single-player experience set in the Atelier Resleriana universe, featuring a fresh protagonist and original stories. Now, why has this non-remake earned a spot on our remake list? Well, it's simple. The studio behind the Atelier series has a habit of reusing assets and story elements, and while this will be a standalone entry in the franchise, it feels like the Atelier Resleriana fans hoped for but never got, and for that reason it earns an honourable mention on our list. And until more information is revealed, we can only hope Resleriana gets the same features, mechanics, and next-gen treatment as Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories, and The Envisioned Land, the other Atelier games scheduled to release this March. In all honesty, guys, I don't expect to be seeing any major updates about Resleriana until after Yumiya launches, so if you are a fan of the Atelier series, bookmark this one and turn on notifications for updates as they become available. And that concludes our list of 9, but really 12 beloved JRPG remakes and remasters releasing in 2025 so far. If you made it all the way to the end, I just want to say I really appreciate you. This video was longer and completely different from anything I've done on this channel, so thank you for sticking with me. And as always, if you found any part of this video helpful or enjoyable, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more gaming guides and hopefully news and reviews in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.